right, big game tomorrow. Obviously, stepping up in weight class, playing Florida. They're playing extremely well, coming off probably one of their better outings, maybe their best outing of the year. I hadn't watched all their games, but, to do what they did to Auburn, especially defensively, and then to be able to score like they have on Auburn. So, they're a preseason top 10 in the country for a reason. They're an excellent team, and our games with them have always been very good. I think all three of them last year went to overtime. They were all very close games. This is going to be one of those games where all the details matter, all the little things matter, and we've got to do a very good job of honing in on the little things and handling the details if we want to give ourselves an opportunity to win.
Questions, raise your hand. We got a mic to you.
At the beginning of the season, Florida was pretty inconsistent in a lot of areas. What have they done?
Well, I think
better?
everybody was inconsistent. We were inconsistent. Everybody was inconsistent. I mean, it's tough. What Coach White's done, he's done a heck of a job. He had, you look at their roster, they've got Blackshear starting, who's a fifth-year kid who just came over from Virginia Tech. They're starting Omar Payne now, who's a big-time player, just a great kid. And they're starting two bigger guys. Lewis, the freshman, is a tremendous talent, but it takes some time to adjust. Welcome, Scott. I'm answering Sheldon's question. So, but Lewis, it takes time to adjust. Obviously they had Nimhard back and Locke and Johnson, some of those guys, but just had a lot of new pieces. Glover, the freshman point guards, played well for him. So it's just it's tough when you've got new pieces trying to learn different offensive system, defensive system, and I think they've just grown as the year's gone on. They've become more connected, more together. I think the ball moves a lot better for them on offense. They've gone back to running some of the same things that they ran last year. I think maybe early in the year, I don't want to coach his team, but I think he probably gave him a little bit more freedom than he's given him now, and now he's doing what he feels most comfortable doing, which is what you should do as a coach. And so he's making sure the right guys get the shots and running stuff that he's very comfortable with. So they're a very good team. They're at the top of our league for a reason.
Well, you talk about Marlon's leap of improvement the other night, how well he played in that game, and what did you see the difference in the way he played?
Well, I thought Marlon played like he's capable of playing. I think he was a lot more locked in. He's a lot more focused going into the game. I think he knew we needed him to play well, and quite frankly, we need him to play well for the next 2.5 months, or for as long as we keep playing. We need him to play extremely well. So I think he understood, what was at stake, and that he was going to have a larger role than he had been having. And, part of it is, too, he's just healthy and fresh. And, Coach Sean Eddy's done a tremendous job as our athletic trainer. He's done a phenomenal job, keeping him healthy. And Marlon's getting hour or 2 hours of treatment every day just to put himself in a position where he can practice and work out and then be able to play in games. So I think a lot of it he was healthy, he was fresh, and he made, like I always say, he made 2 or 3 plays that he's the only guy on the court that can make them. Obviously the offensive rebound that he got at the end and got fouled, but even more important than that, they were in their 1-3-1 and we just kind of threw it up to him on the sideline. Against anybody else, that pass is out of bounds. He leaps up and catches it, skips it back to Skylar. They gamble for a steal on the skip pass, and Skylar drives it in and lays it in, and we're up 5. And those are huge, game-winning plays that Marlon, that Marlon makes.
Coach, going in the last game, 9 for 19 from behind the arc. How important is it going to be to be able to hit from behind the arc against Florida, really maybe open up the drive to the paint?
Well, I think anytime you can make threes, it opens things up. But that's not really our strength. I think we're like 230th, 231st in the country in amount of points we get from threes. So that's not really our deal. We try to be consistent and pounding the paint and drawing fouls and making things happen around the rim. But certainly teams are going to try to force us to shoot threes. I'm sure Florida's going to try to force us to shoot threes, and we've got to do a good job of taking the right threes. We're actually a pretty good shooting team. Actually, a very good shooting team. when we shoot the right type threes, when we shoot inside-out threes, penetrating pitch threes, when we shoot them off the bounce or we shoot them off of one pass and it's just around the perimeter, we don't make many, as most teams in college basketball don't. So, we just got to be a little bit sharper and smarter with the threes that we take, and we've got to turn the bad threes into drives and fouls and layups and shots at the rim. Because even if you just shoot it in the paint, you got a lot better chance to offensive rebound. It helps you just a lot better things that can happen, irregardless of whether you make it or not. So we've got to shoot some better shots.
Coach, being the only team undefeated in the SEC, do you feel like this team deserves to be in the conversation for top 25? I believe this team didn't receive any votes.
I don't know.
this
We don't.
week.
The poll came out yet?
Yes.
27.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Shows how much I know. No, we stumbled a lot in the non-conference. We've kind of been stumbling around a little bit. So that doesn't matter. There's a lot of season left. We've got quite a few conference games left, and so we can't worry about any of that.
Will, I don't know your percentage for the season, but you obviously shot it well from the free throw line against Ole Miss. How important is that moving forward? How do you, I guess, continue that sort of rate at the free throw line moving forward?
Well, we just got to stick to our routines and keep working daily. That's something we spend quite a bit of time on is, driving in there and getting fouled and then being able to pay it off when we get fouled. You look at the game against Florida that we lost here last year. We shot it terribly from the free throw line. We gave up 7 points on baseline out of bounds. Little stuff like that when you get in the meat of conference schedule, when you play the heavyweights in the conference like Florida is. That's the difference in the games is, how well you can shoot it from the free throw line. Can you win baseline and sideline out of bounds? Can you get a few loose balls? Can you take a charge? That sort of thing becomes difference makers. And so we've got to work at all of that, but part of our identity offensively is being able to drive it in there and get to the free throw line, and we got to be able to pay it off when we make them foul us and get to the line.
Coach, they're coming off that win over Auburn, who's ranked top 5 in the country. And you mentioned defense is maybe that the most important thing they do, and how do you, I guess, deal with that, especially in the game?
Well, they're a really balanced team. They have the number one offense in the conference right now, and through 5 conference games, they've got the best offense in the conference. So they're shooting the ball well. They're shooting 38% from 3 in league. They've got a tremendous, big kid in Blackshear, and Omar Payne's playing really well. He had a double-double, 19 and 11 or 19 and 12 against Auburn. Did a tremendous job cleaning up the glass, and Locke's hitting threes, and Lewis is coming on. And Johnson, a kid who they started most of the year last year, has been coming off the bench for them and giving them great minutes. And so, they're very, very dangerous offensively just because they have a lot of weapons, and they screen well, they cut hard, they move. They've got good schemes. And then, defensively, they've been doing a lot of switching lately in conference. They switched almost everything against Auburn, and Auburn was very, 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 very stagnant. They went to switching more against Alabama as the game went on. They've switched some. They played almost every defense against Missouri and some of their other games. So, they're well coached, well schooled, well trained, and they're a very, very good team, both offensively and defensively. They have great balance on both ends of the court.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that, I guess, from your perspective? What do you do as a team to handle that? To deal with that amount of scoring that they have and all that?
You got to pick your poison. You got to figure out who you think you can stop. Do you have a one-on-one matchup you can win anywhere defensively? Do you have a one-on-one matchup or matchups you can win anywhere offensively? And how can you keep the ball moving and create seams for your guys to drive the ball against their switches, or if they end up pushing ball screens like they did against us last year? How can we react and get the ball to the second side quicker? And so, one thing about them is they do an excellent job. They're going to find a weak spot where you haven't prepared for. You've got to prepare for 3 or 4 different ball screen coverages. You've got to prepare for a bunch of different baseline out of bounds stuff that they run. Like I said, they hammered us on it last year here. You've got to prepare for all their weapons on offense. And so, he's going to spend the first 10, 12 minutes of the game feeling out where's the weak spot where you didn't where's the spot where you're a little bit exposed, where you haven't been as prepared maybe as you need to be. And so that's what we're trying to spend the next 24 hours, 36 hours before the game doing is shoring up the weak spots to make sure that we don't leave any of ourselves exposed, and that we're prepared for what they're going to throw at us.
You kind of touched on Marlon, but Andre Hyatt also had a big second half for you guys in that last game. It seems like whenever he's on the floor, that the team kind of has a little bit of an extra energy boost. Do you see that, and like where do you think he, I guess, kind of most helps you guys when he's on the floor?
Yeah, he's one of the few guys. He's a two-way player. He plays both ends of the floor. He's obviously came in as a big-time offensive weapon, being able to shoot the ball, and he's shooting the ball a lot better, shooting it with confidence. For him to be able to make that three, we hadn't had a guy make a three off a screen like that on the side out of bounds play in a long time. We didn't even screen very well on the play, and he still got it off and made it turn. To be able to shoot the catch like that, it's very, very difficult. Shoot the turn. And, he can do that, and we hadn't been able to kind of get him going yet, but he's done that. He gives our guys confidence. And then defensively, he covers up a lot of mistakes. He's always in the right place. He helped over, and Ole Miss bounced it off their chest. Buffin did a couple times. He's always in the right spot. We're a lot better team when he's out there. And the other thing he's brought us is he's big, and he's been a lot more physical and tough maybe than I probably gave him credit for in the preseason. And so he's found a way to make plays, and when he's out there, the scoreboard usually moves in a really, really good direction for us, whether or not he's hitting shots or not. Other teams tend not to score as much, and the ball moves on offense. He doesn't hold the ball. If he doesn't have a shot or a quick drive, he's going to pass it and cut, or pass it and move and find the open spot. So he's a real cerebral player, very, very good player. And, you forget he's only a freshman. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman. He's coming off a couple of knee injuries. I mean, we didn't even know if he was going to be able to play this year. And so we're getting, he's been absolutely huge for us. And, hopefully, in a perfect world, we can keep him playing at a high level and continue to get him 18, 20 minutes a game, and him continue to grow, and keep Marlon playing at a very high level. And then when we add, when you add Manning back in another couple weeks, now we've got some real depth. We've got a real team. We've got a really good team. And so that's the hope. Can we keep Hyatt playing well and keep Marlon playing well, and then be able to add Charles back, and got a really good 8-9 man rotation. You can throw Bishop or Coop and Marshall in there certainly when we need to. And so that's what we're hopefully building towards as we come down the stretch.
Coach, you've got a couple guys on your roster that are from Florida. Do Emmett and Darius ever talk about this game, that this is one they look forward to, almost that they missed out on them?
Oh, I don't know. I think those two look forward to every game. Days loves to play, and Emmett loves to play. So I think they're excited about playing anybody.
Coach, sort of a lighthearted one here. No suit in Oxford. Is that something you plan on continuing road games? What was up
No, I
with the
did
suit
that
choice?
because I told our guys, they were doing the red out, and our guys were in the white uniform. So I told us I'm going to wear white with you, and I had a big choice to make between that one or the little windbreaker I brought. So I wore the. I wore the. It was pretty comfortable, actually. It was actually very comfortable. I can see why people do it. I may have to do it again. It was hot in there. It was like they had the heat on in there. It was. Everybody who was there was shaking there. It was toasty in there. So I should have gone with the windbreaker. It was a little bit lighter, but I kind of liked it on the road. It was good. But no, I did it just because we were doing a white out, and I told our guy, hey, look, I'm going to be in there with you. We're going to be in white. We're the only, that sort of thing.
Mike Harney, you were pretty close in your thumb screen. Remember the score you gave us?
Yeah, it was pretty close. 2 points off, I believe. Yeah.
Coach, the last couple games, Javonte looks like he's been taking smarter shots, and he's been hitting.
No pun intended.
So, how is that going to be important for against Florida?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to keep playing at a high level. When Javonte plays well and plays at a high level like he's been playing, we're a much better team. He's quicker. He's been making really, really good decisions for us, and when he does that, it helps our whole team out. Another area he's really improved in is defensively. He's guarding people. He's being able to. He did a very good job on Isaiah Joe. We put him on Tyree for a little bit. Marlon did a phenomenal job on Tyree. He was the only hope we had to even slow Tyree down. But Javonte's improved on both ends of the floor. And when your point guard and when he plays well, your team's going to be quite a bit better.
Yeah, well, how do you, I guess, let Javonte be himself, enthusiasm-wise, but still not, go over the line, or the officials say he goes over the line when it's a natural
Yeah.
basketball back and forth, and you talking back and forth with each other during the
Yeah,
game?
we got to cut that out. We can't have that. If we'd lost the game, those 2 free throws were critical. So we've got to be able to cut that out and let our play doing the talking. But like you said, he's an emotional player, and I tell him all the time, I'd rather tell you whoa than go. So I'd rather reel you back in than have to stir you up and give you a little pop and give you a little motion. So. That's one thing I love about Javonte. I love about Emmett. I love about those guys is that they're emotional, they're into it, they want to win, and he made some big shots.
And not to harp on the negative, but it's kind of back-to-back games where Darius has found himself in a little bit of foul trouble. I guess
Yeah.
if you guys looked at that, the film.
Yeah, we've looked at it, and we're working through that with him and working on it. And he's frustrated and should be frustrated, and we'll keep working through it. And I think he'll be fine. He hadn't really crept up until the last couple of games. We've been pretty good up until the last couple of games, and so we'll continue to work with him and watch film and show him some areas where he probably needs to pick his battles a little bit wiser, and is crashing this time worth the opportunity cost with the foul? And so we've talked to him about it. Me and him watched film yesterday for a long time together, one-on-one, about that and some other things. And as he always does, he'll respond well. He'll be ready to go.